Well, hey there. Welcome to Movie Review Mom. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. And today the movie review is all about the movie Doula. This comedy dramedy is available now on digital and on demand as of today, June 20th, 2022. It is rated R and is an hour and 45 minutes. So I've been experimenting during the month of June and giving you my movie review mom grade at the beginning rather than the end of my reviews. And so I'm hesitating because the movie review mom grade I'm giving this film is a D plus. Wah, wah. And you're probably going to want to know why. So I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell. I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, interesting, funny lines, if there are any, as well as recommendations for other films that I think that you're going to like if you like this one and maybe vice versa. All right. So in a nutshell, the story is about a couple. They're not married. So after dating for a matter of months, 30-somethings Deb and Silvio are expecting their first child when their elderly midwife, Penka, passes away unexpectedly. Silvio makes the hasty decision to hire Penka's son, Sasha, as their live-in doula. Deb is cranky and frustrated, as are pretty much all pregnant women towards the end, especially, and I'm speaking from experience. So she's ticked off because Sylvia didn't consult her before hiring this doula. But before long, Sasha's unconventional style wins her over. Then, as Deb and Sasha grow closer and the pregnancy nears its inevitable conclusion, Silvio starts to feel like the odd man out. That's the boyfriend. His continued efforts to exert control over the pregnancy lead to a blow-up fight in which he forces Deb to choose between him and Sasha. Well, as you can imagine, that doesn't go well. Aaron Shiver wrote the screenplay, but also stars in it as the doula. So there were a few things that I really liked about the movie. I know, based on my grade, it doesn't amount to much though. So I'm so sorry. First of all, I adore Chris Pine. And so as soon as I found out that he was involved with this project, I wanted to see it. So Doula marks the very first feature film produced by Chris Pine and his new production company called Barry Lennon Motion Pictures. And this film is produced in association with Vacation Theory and Universal Pictures Content Group. So congratulations to him. He stated about the movie, quote, "Making Doula was a dream come true. It's written by one of our best friends, directed by one of our best friends, starring a bunch of our best friends. The film was a ton of fun to make, and we hope audiences see that when they're watching it," end quote. So unfortunately, Chris, I'm so sorry, but I guess you got to start somewhere with your first film. This one just was a big miss for me. However, I know there will be audiences that enjoy this. I just didn't. In real life, Chris Pine has appropriately hairy and manly arms, but in this movie, they're super hairy. I had to do a double take, and then two of the characters actually mention his hairy arms. So obviously they added hair just to make it funny. And so there is humor in the movie. However, nothing made me laugh out loud. It just really wasn't my cup of tea, oddly enough, because I have 4 kids. I actually had 7 pregnancies and I had 3 miscarriages, obviously. And so you'd think that I would be all over this content, but let me talk about the things I didn't like here in just a minute. Back to the things that I liked. Troyan Belisario plays Deb. She's the real life daughter of Deborah Pratt, who plays Deb's mother in the movie. Deb's character is super obnoxious and has a terrible potty mouth, but I'll talk more about that in just a minute too, on the list of things that I didn't like. The film shows definitely the emotional ups and downs of pregnancy, as well as the toll that it can take on relationships. And that leads into one of the things that I didn't like, and I'll give you my list here moving on. But I don't think getting a girl knocked up is funny. So call me old fashioned, but I know everybody does that. But for me, I just don't think that that's just hilarious. And this, again, is supposed to be kind of a comedy and also a drama, and it's supposed to be insightful. But most of the movie for me was just a slog to get through, mostly because I just didn't enjoy spending time with any of these people. And so I don't know. Maybe they're just all acting, like Chris Pine said he was surrounded by all of his good friends. But if they're like this in real life, then I just didn't really like any of the characters. They just weren't appealing to me. And some of them were just downright annoying personally. So many scenes could have been edited completely out without changing the story. Now, I get that we're learning about these characters and we're seeing that they're very quirky, but to me it kind of translated that they're all very selfish and they're all controlling. And when it comes to a pregnancy, the mother should absolutely have some say in how everything's going to go down. Anyway, that was just one of the things. The movie also makes doctors look like quacks, and it kind of paints the hospital as this terrible place to have babies. And so I had 3 of my babies in the hospital and was grateful to have the support, the technology, the medicine, and all of that to deliver healthy babies. And then one was actually born on my bedroom floor by accident because he came so fast, we couldn't even get out of the house to get to the hospital. And so I have experienced both types. I will admit that having a baby at home by accident was very scary because we didn't know what we were doing. It was just my husband and me at home. And yet there was a very sweet, sacred feeling in the room. And it was kind of a spiritual experience. I felt my husband's grandfather's presence in the room, and we named our son, or that son, after that grandfather. And so it was very, very special. However, it was very scary and things could have gone wrong very quickly without time for an ambulance or somebody to come and help us and rescue us. So just saying. And I have to say, I loved that epidural so that I wouldn't have to feel all of the excruciating pain. Okay, but I digress. All right, let me give you some tips for parents. First of all, kids are going to be completely bored, and so will some adults. That being said, this movie is not appropriate for children. It is rated R for a reason. For example, the very first word that we hear coming out of the lead actress is an F-bomb. And after that, there are plenty more of those, as well as other profanity and crude language and conversations. There's talk of prostitution. We see an unmarried couple going at it in bed with skin and sound effects. We know that another couple is going at it in a bathroom. People pleasure themselves. People smoke weed, including a pregnant woman. People get drunk, including a pregnant woman. A woman flips the bird. Now, I know there's this big debate in the country about what is a woman. I would like to believe a woman is much more feminine than that, and also much more concerned about her baby than getting drunk, smoking weed, and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, I have a lot of criticisms about these characters, knowing that they're not real. And in terms of the film quality, I just think that the movie, like I said, it was slow, kind in a slog. There was just nothing that made me want to keep watching. And so let me tell you some of the themes that are illustrated and well, I would say motherhood in some sense. I mean, she's going to have a baby, pregnancy, doulas, support, emotional support, physical support for pregnant women, step parenting, relationships, and choices. Now, I always write down funny lines and interesting lines on my written review at moviereviewmom.com, but I didn't write down anything that I thought was funny or even noteworthy that was even an interesting line. And so while the writing is colorful and quirky. I just couldn't grab any golden nuggets that were worth sharing with you. And that's unusual for me because I really try hard to find that kind of stuff to give you a taste of what the movie's all about. So anyway, then finally, before we go, I want to share some recommendations for some other movies that if you like these movies, then you might like this one. The first one is called Juno, and it's about a high school girl that gets knocked up and her experiences with that. It received great acclaim. Again, it wasn't my cup of tea. I felt really badly about the whole situation. These were teenagers that, where were the parents during all of this? Anyway, and then another movie is called Knocked Up. It stars Katherine Heigl, and again, she gets knocked up and they're not married, with her boyfriend. And I don't think that that's super funny, although I do like her. And then another one that has Katherine Heigl in it is called Life as We Know It. Now, she's not pregnant in this one. No spoilers, but she and another guy inherit their child when they're in a horrible accident and they die. And so these are two people who aren't in love trying to figure out how to raise this baby. And that's part of the thing is I look at this woman, the protagonist in this movie, Doula's, and I just think, she was really losing it during the pregnancy. How prepared was she to actually be a mother? The whole pregnancy is only 9 months. I know it feels like 100, but it didn't look like the couple was prepared at all to raise a human being, because they were both so self-centered. And that just really turned me off. Okay, enough about all of that. If you watch this movie, I hope that you enjoy it. If you don't, hey, I gave you the heads up. I want to help you save time and money by not watching bad movies and really focusing on the great ones. And sadly, this is not a great one. All right, that's it for my review. Have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.